Hello everyone, and let's do my reading wrap-up for the Amazing Readathon. This was hosted by Briana over on 4 Paws and a Book on YouTube. I will list the channel of Briana and then any co-hosts that I can find. If they have a YouTube channel, I will list that in the description box as well. I did not write down any co-hosts, so I only know about Briana creating it. This was a team-based readathon, and I was on Team Romance. And this was also point-based. I did not write down how many points I was able to get from my team, but let's go ahead and tell you what prompts I was able to complete and just go from there. So first off, the first grouping of prompts is the sightseeing, and you get so many points per prompt. So in the 100-point category, and I'm not going to go into much detail for these books. The first prompt was a 2024 release. I did an ebook set that was Wish You Weren't Here by Erin Baldwin. I gave this one 4 stars. It's a young adult book set at a summer camp, and it was actually really cute. It is LGBT, as it's a romance between a female and a female. And this was 296 pages. Prompt number 2 is a friend recommendation. I did not fulfill this prompt. Number 3 is to read a novella, so a book under 200 pages. I went with Halloween Bang. This is an adult erotic romance, monster smut, basically. I gave it 3 stars. It was 127 pages, written by S.F. Riley. Number 4, a backlist book, so a book that was published in 2022 or before that, so 2022 or older. The one that I read was published in October of 2022, and I did another Halloween monster smut adult erotic romance, Halloween Kismet by Nikki Lobelia. I gave this one 3 stars as well, and this one was 73 pages. Prompt number 5 is a book with a number in the title. I went with A Letter to 3 Witches, written by Elizabeth Bass. I checked this book out from the library, loved it so much, made me giggle, and so I had to get my own copy. So this is my own copy, and this actually has a companion book with it, and I did order that one as well, so I have that one ready to go when I'm ready to get back into this world. So, A Letter to the 3 Witches, it's an cozy, I would say. It is a sweet romance. There's nothing sexually explicit. Every now and then the language might get a little rough, but nothing overtly sexually explicit, or nothing sexually explicit. This does have an LGBT relationship in it. One of the cousins is gay, and I think his partner is bi. It's bisexual is mentioned, but you do know that this cousin is in a male-male relationship. So it's just this family that had to suppress their magic for centuries due to an ancestor's blunder, and things start to go awry and bubble to the surface. I gave this one 4 stars, and it was 292 pages. The next prompt is a book talk recommendation. I did not complete that prompt. Prompt number 7, or the next prompt, is an author you've never read from before. I went with Takedown by Laura Shovan. I read this via ebook. I gave it 3 stars, and it was 262 pages. I am trying to recall what this book was about. I read quite a few books in the month of June. So I just want to pull up the cover. So Laura... Oh yes, okay. This one was a middle grade, and it follows a girl who wants to enter a very male-dominated sport, which is wrestling, and she's at that age where it's in school that the girls can wrestle with the boys, and so there is commentary on that, and some boys or some of their family members do not want the boys to wrestle with a girl, and so there is commentary on that. That's right. Now I remember looking at the cover. Okay, the next prompt is a genre blend. The book that I read is a science sci-fi dystopian thriller. And I read this one via audiobook. This Is Not the Real World by Anna Carey. This is book number 2 in the This Is Not the Jess Show series. And I think this is a complete series as far as I know. I listened to it via audio, which was 6 hours and 49 minutes. This was 304 pages. It was a 3-star. Think The Truman Show starring Jim Carrey, except it's more young adult, and the main character that we're following is a female. Okay? And that's all I'm going to say about that, because especially where it's the second book, I don't want to say more than that because it starts entering into spoiler territory. The next prompt is a book with an odd number of pages. I went with another monster smut romance, adult erotica, in the Monstrous Mistake series, and this is Halloween Craving by Lisa Freed. I gave this one 3 stars, and it was 99 pages. And then the next prompt in the 100-point sightseeing category is a book that has been on your TBR for at least 1 year. I did not fulfill that prompt. Several of these books will have, like, This Is Not the Real World, that could have been on that. I wanted to read that, but the audiobook was not available until within the last month or 2. So, but I've wanted to get to it. Anyway, and it was published a couple of years ago, but the audiobook was not available. Next, we're into the 200-point category, and I'm just going to tell you a lot of these prompts I did not fulfill. So I'll just tell you which ones I did fulfill, because there are some I did. So, a book with a map, did not do. A book with an illustrated cover, I read My Senor Grumpylicious, written by Luna Stone. I read this one via ebook, and there were enough, it just read very choppy to me, and I don't really remember much about it. I got about 50%, and then it's like, I'm not remembering anything. I'm not looking forward to picking this up. So I skimmed all the way to the end. I just kind of skimmed. So I did not DNF it, I skimmed it. I gave it 1 star, 238 pages. A book involving food, I read That's Not My Name by Megan Lally, and this is a young adult thriller, I would say. Oh, that's this one. I have the physical book. Loved this. This is a debut book for this author. Really looking forward to what else they put out. 290 pages. Was not expecting the twist at the end. Involving food, there is a restaurant that the main female character goes to with this man who says he's her father, and there are some food allergy and allergic reactions, and so yeah, there is food involved in this, a fair bit amount. So yeah, I counted that one. The next 3 prompts on my paper here I did not complete, and that is a book with a romance. Well, I did complete If I Do Double Ups, but I did not double anything up. The next one is a first-person POV, a self-published book, and the final 4 prompts I did not complete within this page, this point sightseeing, 200-point sightseeing, is a 5-star prediction, an author's debut, although this one would have counted, but I used it for something else. An isolated setting, again, that book would have worked for that one too, and a retelling. Now we are into the sightseeing that are the prompts are worth 300 points each, and I did not complete any of these. So I'm just going to tell you what the 10 prompts were. And that was a book that takes place in a different country from where you live, a book that takes place primarily at a school, a book with an animal on the cover, third-person POV, a book with a weapon on the cover, a POC author, so a person of color, and let's see, a book with a higher than 4.0 rating on Goodreads, a book involving travel, a special edition, and a book involving sports or a competition. So like Takedown could have worked because it's sports, but I used that for a different prompt. And now we are into sightseeing for 400 points each, and I did not complete any of these prompts, and they are as follows. A book with only 1 person on the cover, a book published in the same month as your birthday, so that would have been December for me, and I did not look into that. A 1-word title, a book involving a game, A book with only words on the cover, so no art and no illustrations. A book with a plane, train, or automobile on it. A book with more than 100,000 ratings on Goodreads. As you can see, the prompts are getting a little bit more difficult. A book with a non-human character. A book by 2 or more authors, and an author who uses initials. And then the final grouping of sightseeing prompts were worth 500 points, and I did not complete any of these ones either, and they are a book with exactly 5 words in the title, a book over 500 pages, not a graphic novel or a manga, the 4th book or volume in a series, a book with a person's name in the title, a book with footnotes, a book with all 5 vowels on the front cover, so A, E, I, O, and U. A book with less than 1,000 ratings on Goodreads. A book written before 2001. A book with foiling on the cover, and it must be the edition that you own or are reading. So it's not like I can read one and then there's an edition out there that I don't own. It has to be the edition I read. And then finally, book number 10 in the 500-point sightseeing prompt was a book that Bree gave 5 stars to. So those are those prompts. Now let's get into the actual city prompts. There are 10 destinations. So, and I did not, spoiler, I did not complete all of these. Number 1, Toronto. This was to read a book you did not purchase. So for this one, I went with Deep and Dark and Dangerous. This one was my grandma's copy, and it now has become my copy when she passed away. So this is written by Mary Downing Hahn, and this is a middle grade horror. I gave this one 3 stars, 187 pages, and this involves death of a child and drowning and hauntings and things like that. Number 2 is Buenos Aires, Argentina. This is to read a book with 2 POVs. I went with this book. This is the discreet version. I love this discreet version. So the character's name, we are following Anthony and Catherine. These are the 2 POVs that switch around in this book. This is an adult, very much adult, very spicy, erotic romance, BDSM, mafia, very dark mafia. Oh, it matches my shirt real well. So the title, and there's no synopsis on the back, but the actual title of the book is on the inside as well as the synopsis. That's one thing I really like about the Willow Winters books. So the synopsis is on the page right next to the title. So this one is Bad Boy, and this is book number 5. It is the final in the Blatty Crime Family Mafia series. Absolutely love the series. Had a great time with this. Gave this 5 stars, 249 pages. The next stop was Berlin, Germany, and this was to read a title that has some form of movement. I went with Real Men Knit by Kwana Jackson. Like, I'm going to go knit. You're moving your hands. It's a craft project. I consider it movement. So Real Men Knit by Kwana Jackson. This, again, was a situation like the other book that I showed about the Letter to the Three Witches. I checked this book out from the library, loved the writing, had to get my own copy. There is a second book out. I'm hoping that there will be 2 more, so I'm hoping this will be a 4-book series because there are 4 brothers. So this one follows one brother. The big theme in this is grief, as their mother has recently passed away, and now they're trying to make it so the knit shop that their mother owned does not end up closing. And then brother that we're following, this is considered a flake, and it is a romance. So, and it does get a little spicy, more mild on this one, but I gave this one 4 stars, 319 pages. The next was Paris, France, and this was to read a book that has won an award. And this one I went with was Raven Black. This is book number 1 in a series. This was written by Cleeves. It is a detective thriller mystery. And we have a couple of different POVs we're following in this one. And this takes place on an island off of Scotland. And it says this is the Duncan Laurie winner of the Dagger Award. So it won. and it's right there. So winner, winner, chicken dinner. This was fun. I did order the next book, and this is... what is the Inspector Jimmy Perez? So, and I think that's who we're following in the next one. So it is a detective-led mystery thriller mystery. And this one involves the murder of a teenager. And that's all I'm going to leave that one as. Stop number 5 was Cape Town, Africa. And this is to read a book that has nature on the cover. And this one I went with Taming Seraphine by Gigi Nix. Flowers are a part of nature. I went with the flowers. I think that's a rose. Yeah, that's a rose. So it has roses here and over in this corner. So this is a very dark BDSM, erotic romance. I'm finding I really like the dark stuff. Almost Mafia-esque. This was written by Gigi Styx, and this was a great time. 5 stars. This was a chunker, 643 pages. My review, there is someone who has watched a couple of videos and wanted to know my thoughts on this. I will be filming the review within the next day or two. Today is July 3rd. And so that review will be coming up before the 15th of July. So do keep an eye on that in case you're interested in that. But the review of this is very soon to come. So Taming Seraphine. Stop number 6 was Antivirero. I have no idea how to say it, but this is to read a book that involves gods or religion. I went with Legion by William Peter Blatty. I have unhauled this book. I gave it 1 star. I was bored. It just did not hold my interest. This is book number 2 in the Exorcist series. I have unhauled the first one. I will say this Legion, in my opinion, was better, but it was still boring. It was just, I just found it boring. And so I've unhauled it. I did give it 1 star because I do think it was better than The Exorcist, and it was 333 pages, and I just want to move on from that book. Stop number 7 was Seoul, Korea, and this is to read a book that has a source of light on the cover. This one I slotted in The House Witch by Delemhach. Not only is it The House Witch, but it is The House Witch number 3. All 3 books in this series, the House Witch series, are titled The House Witch. You just have The House Witch 1, 2, and 3. There is a 4th book in The House Witch called The Princess of Potential or The Potential Princess, one of the two. Not quite sure. And that book is set like 20 years after the events that this one concludes. So it is still part of the series, and so we're following a different main character, but I'm still hoping that Finley Shovan, who is the one that we're following in this one, will pop up quite a few times in the next one. Fingers crossed. I'm looking forward to it. But Source of Light, there's a sun setting or rising, I don't know, but Source of Light are right there. This was Think Cozy Fantasy, and I absolutely love this series. Every book in this series has gotten a 4 stars, so books number 1 and 2 have gotten 5 stars, excuse me, I said 4. They've gotten all 5 stars, and this is no exception. This was also a 5-star, and I giggle throughout this whole book. It is comedic, in my opinion. I found it very funny. Love it. I will be reading all the books by Delemhach, and this was 365 pages. Stop number 8 was Bangkok. This is to read a book that has at least 5 colors on the cover. I ran out of time, and so my final stop was Seoul, Korea. But I'll still tell you the next prompts now that the readathon is over. So I did not do for Bangkok. The next one was Auckland, which I obviously did not know, and that's in New Zealand. And this was to read a book with water on the cover. And then the final stop was Los Angeles, and this is to read a book that you want to see adapted into a TV series or a movie. And honestly, all 3, I would go with this one. There's definitely at least 5 colors. We have yellow, we've got purple, blue, there's some greens, some grays, some whites. So it definitely has all of the colors. It has some purple. There's water on the cover right behind the castle there. And I want to see this adapted into a movie. I really do, or a TV series. This would be a great one to be adapted. So this book would technically fit all of them, but they would have had to have been different books. So that sucks that I ran out of time. I just ran out of time. And then we had some other prompts. So there was this face-off where it was the books that you would read. It was a 48-hour face-off. Unfortunately, this took place while I was working, so I could not really participate, which means I did not complete any books during that time. So anything that would have been read during that didn't count, but again, I did not complete any books. And that went by books finished, not page count. But for me, either way, it was a 0. So that is what it is when you work. And then the last 7 prompts of this were non-reading prompts. These are what were called detours. So detour number 1 was to post a picture of your current read with a pet. I posted all of these on Instagram, and I tagged the Amazing Readathon on Instagram. So my Instagram is always linked in there, and I posted it in my stories and not on my actual official posts, but it was in the stories. So you wouldn't be able to see those now because they were only there. The stories are only there on Instagram for a limited amount of time. Number 2 was to tag your favorite indie bookstore and library on social media, and I think it had to be a local. The only indie bookstore I am aware of was in Durango, Colorado, so it was local to family, and that was Maria's Bookshop. Library, I just did the Salt Lake County Library, as I am a part of that library system. There's like, I don't know, like 19, 20, something like that in the Salt Lake County Library. And the ones that are closest to me are like, there's like 5 of them. Anyway. The next one was to post a picture of a book with a beautiful cover. I did do that. I don't remember what books I did for these ones. The next one was to take a pic of 5 books. Oh, was to take a picture of 5 books, 1 for each color of the Olympic rings. So blue, yellow, black, green, and red. I did complete that. What books did I select? I don't know, but I did post the picture of that. And then at 12 noon, post a picture of what you are doing and to show your POV. I was working, so I could not post it, but I did take the picture at 12 noon. And I think it was like within the next 2 hours that I actually officially posted it. But I was working, and when I'm working retail and the phone is ringing and I'm having to review credit applications and things, and I could not take the time to actually post it, but I could take 2 seconds to take the picture. So I did do that. I am counting that it was completed. I just couldn't mess with my phone to post the picture until things calmed down at work. And then the final non-reading prompt was to post a picture of the longest book that was at the top of my TBR. And I think that one was actually Taming Seraphine. No, it was not Taming Seraphine. It was the next book in that world. It's not a series. It is a standalone. And I don't remember what it is. And I think Rosalind is the next character or something like that. But yeah, those are all of the prompts and what I was able to complete. So for this readathon, I read 4,453 pages. I have completed 16 books. So that is a total of 278.31 pages per book. Now, with that being 30 days in the month of June, for how many pages read per day, that was 148.43 pages per day. As far as the stars, 2 books got 1 star. I gave nothing a 0 star, nothing a 2 star. 6 books got 3 stars, 4 books got 4 stars, and 4 books got 5 stars. That is 56 stars issued during the Amazing Readathon. Divided by 16 books, that means the books got a 3.5 star average. And out of all the books that I read, I have unhauled 2. One of them was an ebook that I deleted from my Kindle, and one was a physical book that I have since unhauled. So 2 unhauls, 1 ebook, 1 physical. So Let me know, did you participate in the Amazing Readathon and which team were you on? Definitely let me know. And I did see on Discord, Team Romance got second place, so congratulations to Team Romance. And thank you so much to Bree or Briana, whatever your preference is, for going for your name. I wrote Briana down because I looked at the channel and then saw your name typed out. But I think when you do your videos, if I remember right, you say Bree. So, Bree, I'm hoping I am saying that right. From 4 Paws and a Book, thank you so much for creating this. This was really fun. I hope there is another round in the future. Would love to participate again, and so I look forward to that. Yeah, again, let me know if you participated or not. And have you ever read any of these books that I mentioned in this video? Talk to me in the comment section below. And until next time, stay true to yourself and enjoy a good book. And I will talk to you later.